One of the most iconic voices in a generation of musicians was nearly silenced 2 years ago. Kerry Livgren was a founding member of the rock group Kansas and wrote what are perhaps their best-known songs, Dust in the Wind and Carry On My Wayward Son. Tonight, in his first television interview since suffering a massive stroke, he shares his journey of recovery and what's yet to come. Livgren spent more than 30 years now fine-tuning this work, his cantata, The Resurrection of Lazarus. Over the past 2 years, he's learned a bit of what it's like to rise from the dead.
And the next thing I remember, I'm lying on the bathroom floor, desperately trying to get up, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me because nothing on my right side would work.
September 2009, in the middle of the night, days shy of his 60th birthday, Kerry suffered a massive stroke. He'd had no obvious risk factors, no warning signs. The doctors told you you should have died.
I take it to mean when he says it's the worst possible stroke, I probably should have died.
So this is where the obstruction is.
Interventional radiologist Dr. Tim Allen treated Kerry at the ER.
He had not only a blocked blood vessel in his brain, but he also had a blocked blood vessel in his neck.
And that's where faith met the miracle of modern medicine. Stormont Vail had only recently begun using a 128-slice CT scanner for the first time fast enough to capture blood flow in the brain. The blue is the affected area. If it stays blue, the tissue is dead.
We know there's a large area of brain that's not dead yet.
And they could pinpoint the problem.
We were armed with knowing exactly where the problem was going in and, go directly to it. Time is brain.
It took 2 weeks for Kerry to completely come to. When he did, it was remarkable, but not perfect.
The fact that I can speak and move.
But you couldn't play the guitar.
That's right. Well, I shouldn't say I can't play the guitar because I just finished an album. I can't play the guitar the way I used to.
Yet how frustrating was it for you?
That's what is so strange about this. I was never even a bit frustrated. I got to play more guitar and keyboards and experience a level of success in my life that other musicians would only dream about. And so what would I have to be frustrated about it that I can't play the guitar?
But Kerry is a musician, and as he worked to improve his speaking ability and strength, music kept its hold.
I realized that I could work in the studio. I realized I could play things a little bit, then I could play things better. I'm now reduced to playing slowly, and I mean every note.
He now uses a thumb pick to play, and with only about 70% feeling in his right hand, there are limits.
The one song that I have the most trouble playing is Dust in the Wind. I may never play Dust in the Wind again.
But Kerry forges ahead. He and an earlier version of Kansas called Protocol released an album in August. He wrote the foreword for a new book telling the story of Dust in the Wind. And he always comes back to this.
The next part? This is the next part.
His story of Lazarus. In some ways, now his story too.
They really couldn't explain why I recovered. I know why I recovered. I believe that the thousands of people that were praying for me.
Prayer, he says, that will help him complete the new score God has composed for his life.
You can be here 1 second, living your life, and the next second, something absolutely calamitous can happen to you. When I wake up every morning, when my eyes open, I thank the Lord for this day. If anybody who's had a stroke, I would tell them, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up.
And not to downplay, Kerry has worked very hard to be able to speak as clearly as you heard. And by the way, he also tells me he practices Dust in the Wind every day and may someday get it back. We have a lot of extras from our interview, including your exclusive listen to the entire overture of The Resurrection of Lazarus at WIBW.com. And you'll also find a link to the 35th anniversary Dust in the Wind gift book with a portion of proceeds benefiting Autism Speaks. Ralph.
And we hope he has a fantastic Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. Thanks, Melissa.